you're unwilling or you're unable to have conversations about sensitive topics, okay? This is how you are perceived. You're too easily offended. You are unwilling or unable to listen to viewpoints you disagree with, okay? And you're incapable of wrestling with complex ideas. Basically, you're kind of stupid. You've dumbed yourselves down by being too woke or something. I don't know. Okay, maybe not stupid, but well, some people think you're stupid. Let's start. I'm going to start right here. What do you think about this characterization of you all and others in the room? Y'all have been through some serious stuff, right? College students in 2022 saying that, everything considered, it's difficult for me to remain enrolled in college. Emotionally, psychologically, socially, financially, those are really high numbers, man. Y'all have really, they've changed a little bit, I'm sure, since then, but you've all been through some real serious stuff. COVID was brutal. And I just want to acknowledge that, okay? Because the title of today's class is The Lost Generation. And that's in a way, that's you all. People email me a lot. People of certain ages, The average, in fact, of the people who watch our videos, 20% are age 55 and over. Right, which is says a lot. And what they're interested in is hearing from you all. They don't want to hear from me. They want to hear from you. I get emails from people every day. I get at least one, sometimes two emails or something from people. And here's what they think of you all, right? You're unwilling or you're unable to have conversations about sensitive topics, okay? This is how you are perceived. You're too easily offended. You are unwilling or unable to listen to viewpoints you disagree with, okay? And you're incapable of wrestling with complex ideas. Basically, you're kind of stupid. You've dumbed yourselves down by being too woke or something. I don't know. Okay, maybe not stupid, but well, some people think you're stupid. Here's one I got from this guy in Norway. The most offendable people on earth. That's you all, right? The most offendable people on earth. And he was referencing American college students, okay? So you are the most offendable. And so this guy is like, dude, you are amazing. How do you not offend people? These people. And then here's another one. I have hundreds of these I could pick from. They all say the same thing. Here's... you've all gone in this big, huge shift toward woke. He's starting to people believe there's no hope for education. There's no hope for your generation. And in part they tune in because they keep listening to you all, because they don't have access, right? They don't have access to this. So they keep listening to you all, and you give them hope because they're realizing, oh my God, this is not a lost generation maybe, but who knows? Let's start. I'm going to start right here. What do you think about this characterization of you all and others in the room?
This is like the pot calling the kettle black. I always try to put myself in other people's shoes, and maybe all of this stuff is completely true, but didn't you say your primary demographic is 55 and up? Not primary,
okay. But it's 25% of the viewers. Yeah.
But our generation or people that are a little bit older than us, we say the same stuff about that age group. Thanksgiving dinner has been all over social media for weeks now. All of your family members that aren't going to listen to you or hear you out. And it's not something I personally have to experience, but for you to say that you're just assuming that an entire age group is just all of these things means that, one, you're not speaking to anybody of this age group. And two, if you are, you're probably being pretty closed-minded because you're not actually listening. I could talk to you and we could argue for hours and neither one of us will ever get anything resolved or feel any different way. But if we sit down for 10 minutes and just talk to each other, we can learn so much more about each other.
Okay. All right. That's good. All right. I like that. Johnny, how about you? What's your gut? Where do you?
Where I feel on the standpoint is that pretty much agreeing with him that if they already have a mindset where they feel like, it seems like they have a superiority complex, like because they're older, they have like that ageism type mindset, and it's like you have to just kind of understand their viewpoint and be like, hey, you think this of us, and as much as we try and change your perspective, sometimes it's not going to work out. Sometimes it's not going to go through, and you just have to be accepting. But those who like actually want to have an open mind, and those who actually want to listen will listen and won't list any of that. It's people who want to start arguments, and people who just want to start some anger issues in your life or something. I feel like they're the type of people who like go out and they just make fights. They like to see the world burn.
All right.
That's me.
Like to burn the world. Well, we've already largely burned the world through fossil fuel consumption, so we're leaving you with the ashes. Lily, is there anything that jumps out for you in that you would say?
I think I basically agree with what they already said. Like if you have a prerequisite or like a stereotype that you have in mind already, and like you talk to someone of like our age group and they say something that might spark that like idea in your mind, then you already like have prejudged them. But I feel like that's applicable to like any generation. It might just be like people that are older than us think that like, oh, like we're young and we're dumb.
Okay.
So, like,
all right. Well, let's get specific, right? Let's start with being offended. Like, when's the last time that you said, I'm really offended by something? I don't know, something somebody said or did or whatever. Lily, when's the last time?
I don't know. I don't get offended really easily.
Okay. Do you know people? Do you have friends and stuff who get offended? How many friends do you have that get offended really easily?
I'm not really friends with anyone that gets like offended really easily.
Wait, hang on. You got that, right? So wait, say boomers. Say that again.
I'm not friends with anyone that gets offended really easily.
But do you have friends? Maybe you don't have friends. They're going to say like,
That's
well,
true.
maybe you're a loner. You don't have any friends. You have a couple anyway?
Yeah. I feel like the only time I've known or like that I've gotten offended or like my friends get offended if it's like something like really extreme.
Extreme.
Yeah. Like something that like I feel like anyone from any age group can agree like, okay, that's not okay.
Would get offended by. Yeah, exactly. But the thing is, maybe maybe your age group just uses the word offended more. Because like my age group, we don't really use the word offended. Like we're not saying that. So maybe people are assuming that you're offended all the time. But my guess is the Thanksgiving dinner table, probably the people my age around that table probably get offended by all sorts of things, but they don't call it that, and so they can take the higher road. Wait, it's a Johnny, right? Yeah. How about you? When's the last time you were offended by something?
It's been a while. I can't actually remember, but I mean, I wasn't personally offended by what someone has said to me, but I've been offended by like what someone has said about one of my friends or like about my parents. So it's like, I feel that's...
And when you say I've been offended, what does that mean? Like,
it means I put myself in their shoes, and if they were talking to the person they were talking about, like in that sort of way, I'd take that as, yo, what are you doing? Like, what are we talking about? So I feel like more of like sympathy, empathy type of thing.
Yeah.
So putting myself in their shoes, I feel like that's the only way I get really offended at like some certain point. But really, I don't really care. I know myself. So.
Okay, so here, I want to stay with you for a second, right? So one thing that you wrote when you applied to volunteer is that you've never experienced racism. So you, as a black guy, most people of my age anyway, are going to see you as a black guy.
Yeah.
And they're going to be like, oh, of course, he's probably really sensitive to racism. And he's probably going to he might have stories, right?
Right.
And you don't have anything.
Yeah. I mean, I grew up in PG County, if anyone knows where that is, but it's like a predominantly black county. So I'm just like kind of surrounded by like people of like-minded or like just.
Yeah, but you got to have
Yeah.
encountered the police, or you're up here.
Yeah,
you
but
got,
I mean, they're just.
but you don't
I don't
have.
know. I just don't. I've gotten lucky. I just haven't been in any situations where I've just been like, "Yo, you're black, get out," or like.
or just
yeah.
something.
Yeah, something like that.
That's offensive. It would be offensive to anybody around on the word on the issue of race. Brett, so you're Jewish, and you're like really Jewish because you're really active in Hillel and so on, right? Okay, when's the last time you were offended?
I feel like you kind of touched on this a few minutes ago, but I feel like there's a difference in the word based on like what you mean. Like all the time I get pissed off by stuff people do, or like something might upset me, but I might not say it. Like I might just keep that to myself, and I feel like that's something that a lot of people in here might agree with. But like outwardly offended doesn't really happen that often. Like I feel like there's a lot of people in other generations that have been offended over much more minuscule things.
Dude, the boomers? Definitely, man. We get offended by all sorts of stuff.
Or like also like older people also care about things a lot more, I feel, than younger people, depending on the topic, because they have more time to devote to something like that. Whereas most of the people in here, we're more focused on studies, getting what we have to do, seeing our friends, living our life.
Well, there's a way in which, sometimes we just we just put things onto other people that we're actually feeling. So a lot of these people here who say these things in these emails to me, like, oh my God, I can't believe it. I like students aren't as XYZ as I imagine them to be, right? Or maybe it's just your class, or maybe it's just your students. How do you pick them? That kind of thing. And I'm like, no, actually, I think this is what it is. So what you're saying is, well, I get angry about a number of things, but I don't walk around with the offense flag going like, I'm offended by this and I'm offended by that.
Yeah, I mean, even that last bullet up there, incapable of wrestling with complex ideas. I'm sure there's a lot of older people that could tell us that what we're going through in college is not that hard, but I'm sure there's a lot of people that have changed their major or dropped out or realized that like something that they were doing was just not feasible, like with work or a partner, and they're just not thinking about that. They're just looking at what we're doing.
Well, here's the other thing, right? People forget what they were like in college. Like people will hear us. I have to remind people all the time, hey man, when you were 20 years old, like they'll write in comments in a video, oh, I can't believe these students sound so dumb. They don't know. And I'm like, how much did you know when you were 20 years old, man? Like everybody who will reach back and say, when I was walking to school, the snow was up to my waist. Yeah, that's because you were this tall, man. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you got that? You're this tall, so the snow's that high. That's how it is today. And like, we had it tough back then. So it's that kind of stuff, right? So, yeah. But how about being willing to listen to views you disagree with? So here, let's talk about the past year and 2 months. Israel-Palestine. How often have you sat down and talked to people about, let me just say, how willing are you to talk to people who have views you disagree with?
I'm usually willing to listen to what somebody has to say, but I make it very clear in my life, I don't like arguing with people. I like discussions where you can disagree and you can, at a certain point, like one of my best friends will just talk about topics all under the sun, and at a certain point, if we're just running in circles, we kind of realize there's really nothing more that can come with this. But I can tell you, somebody, I think they might have graduated Penn State now, but they knew me before I came to Penn State, and they knew I was Jewish, and I knew they were Palestinian, and we were able to have like nothing too deep, but we were able to just wish well for each other's families and just talk about it a little bit, but we kind of respected that we probably weren't going to see eye to eye on certain things.
Yeah, like boomers don't see eye to eye on certain things. How many people in your surrounding community are really actually like you, willing to listen? What do you think?
I feel like in all communities, there are a lot of people that are willing to listen, but there's always a line when people are kind of done listening. Like, I feel like there's a lot of people that will tell you they're very open-minded or they're very passionate and empathetic towards certain people, but then all of a sudden there's a catch somewhere. Like,
Dude,
I really love I love everybody, but
not those people.
I don't care about this particular cause.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Johnny, how about you? Like, to what degree are like people really in your close network willing to sit around and have conversations with, listen to ideas?
I would say they're pretty willing. I mean, that also is, I feel like, a testament to how I grew up with how my parents raised me. They just told me, stay with the right crowd, don't involve yourself in any bad situations, and I feel like, or bad people. So it's like having people understand different viewpoints and just being able to have a conversation, not an argument, have a nice discussion on like a topic, even if you both have very different viewpoints on something. I feel like that's so much just better and easier to hang out around.
Okay, so now look in the camera.
Yeah.
How common is that? What do you think? Like when you look at all these people in this classroom, what's your gut feeling wait, how old are you, 21?
19.
19?
Yeah.
All right, as a 19-year-old, is your gut feeling that they're more like you, or are they more like people are imagining them to be?
I feel like 90% of the people in this room are like able to hold like a normal conversation without just being like going all the way back to the same main point that they feel is like the end all be all of that conversation. And actually taking in what the other person is saying. I feel like at least 90% of the people in here.
So you here at Penn State, how many times have you been in real intense arguments with people versus discussions about, like, whatever, Trump or war or Israel, Palestine or something, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I can't remember when I was in like an actual bad argument with someone about like a topic that we just couldn't see eye to eye on. I feel like, yeah, like even in this like World in Conversations thing, it's never really an argument. It's always a discussion. Like the mediator, I don't think, for me, none of the ones I've been the mediator had to like step in and be like, yo, calm down. Hold back.
Yeah, but facilitator. But yeah, we never have arguments. When we started doing World in Conversation, it was called, 23 years ago, it was called the Race Relations Project, but we started having conversations about lots of other issues, so we changed the name to World in Conversation. But when we were Race Relations Project, people in Old Main were like, you can't do that. You're not gonna be able to do that. Come on, man. People are gonna just sit around and argue, and we're like, no, they're not. They're not gonna sit around and argue. They're gonna sit around and have conversations because we're gonna have facilitators, and people want to talk, man. People want to talk. How often are you unwilling to listen to views you disagree with?
I feel like I'm never like unwilling to talk to anyone about it because I'm always like trying to hear people's different perspectives just to educate myself more. But yeah, I'm pretty willing to listen to other different like perspectives. No,
hang on. You just said, you said it very strongly, but then what you just said right there is I'm pretty willing. Okay? Like that word takes the air out of it. So it sounds like you're really willing.
I am willing.
Yeah. You're all snowflakes, right? You know what snowflakes are. And snowflakes are really delicate and they melt really easy. And so that's this term that you've been given. And it's not just, it came from the right. It came from the conservative world, like the Fox viewers kind of stuff, Tucker Carlson, my good friend, and that kind of stuff, right? But but it then got taken on by lots of people, right? So you're snowflakes, because you're too sensitive. You're gonna cry really easily. Does that fit you?
No.
Oh, why not? Wait, hang on. Look right in that camera and do a little bit of a close-up. Close-up into Lily here. All right, Nish, put Lily on. Go closer, bro. You want to frame right
close.
here. Yeah, no. Go ahead. We want to frame right here. All right. Tell him why that doesn't fit. I'm going to get out of the frame, so.
That doesn't fit because I don't remember the last time I cried.
Okay. What else? Sensitive subjects. What is one subject that's really that would be the one that would lead you to melt? That would lead you to melt, like cause you to have a meltdown, just like, oh my God.
Probably just anything with my parents. Like, I don't really care I do care if people are racist to me. It doesn't offend me as much. But when like I've witnessed people be racist to my parents, like that really gets me going. So, yeah, probably that.
And your parents are Vietnamese immigrants,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. But anybody would be bothered by that.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man. Like anyone's going to be bothered by that. So you're telling me that's the most sensitive issue for you.
Probably, yeah.
Otherwise, you have your duck feathers on that you're just like, yeah, whatever, it rolls off my back.
I mean, I kind of feel bad saying this, but like, so I think it was like 2 years ago. It's probably been 2.5 years now. So my dad, his brother died, and it was just really unexpected. Like they're both, I wouldn't say old, but like they're kind of like, I mean, I wouldn't say young, but they're still at a normal good age where they'd be going to the gym. But yeah, so he died very unexpectedly, and like it was sad seeing like my dad cry and like all that stuff, but I feel like, I mean, I knew him, he's my uncle, so like we're somewhat close, but like I'm like, damn, that's unfortunate. But I mean, life goes on. I had to go to work the next day, so it was like I just keep living. And
Okay, so that's a sensitive thing for you.
I would say, that's like a thing where it's like, I feel like it's not, I mean, it's a sensitive topic, but it's not crazy enough for me to like start bawling or something.
Okay, all right, I got you. So really, if that doesn't put you in a puddle of tears, then yeah, where's the sensitivity then? Where do you think people are getting this idea that you're a bunch of snowflakes?
You've shown us a bunch of graphics in the past of different generations, but one thing that my dad always says jokingly is there's so many things that if he was in college with phones, him and his friends would have been in like deep trouble over. And I feel like with access to like social media, people see the rare instances of people freaking out a lot more.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think, I agree with them about family stuff. That might make me a little bit sensitive, but you're not really going to see me have a meltdown. But when you have access to like social media or just anything being on the internet, one bad moment where you just have like a little lapse of judgment is all it really takes for people to see you all across the world and like come up with a generalization of who you and other people like you might be.